whatever we essentially are as human beings, we have obviously emerged from the universe. We are sustained by and exist in the universe, and on death we dissolve back into it. And this is true from both a materialistic perspective and from the consciousness only model of reality. And just as the essential nature of a wave is identical to the nature of the ocean from which it emerges, so the essential nature of ourself is identical to the nature of the universe from which we emerge. Therefore, if we want to know the nature of reality, if we want to know what the universe essentially is, we need only investigate ourselves. We cannot investigate the universe or the world directly, because our knowledge of it is mediated through sense perception. And our knowledge of the universe will always appear in accordance with the limitations of our senses. Therefore, we cannot have direct knowledge of the nature of the universe. However, we can have direct knowledge of the nature of ourself. And it is for this reason that self-knowledge is really the essence of all the great religious and spiritual traditions. It is not only the means whereby we may find lasting peace and happiness, it is also the means whereby we may discover the nature of reality or the nature of the universe. So whether we approach a spiritual tradition in order to be relieved of our suffering, in other words, in order to find peace and happiness, or if we are more philosophically inclined and approach a spiritual tradition in order to know the nature of reality, the answer is the same in both cases. Know yourself. That is, know that aspect of ourself that is essential to us, that cannot be removed from us. And this is why almost all religious and spiritual traditions start, at least to begin with the via negativa, the discarding or turning away from everything that is not essential to us. The return to our essential being from the adventure of experience. We cannot find our being or know our being in the same way that we know any other experience, because we are too close to ourself to know ourself in subject-object relationship. the same reason that the eyes cannot see themselves, for the same reason that we cannot stand up and take a step towards ourselves. We cannot know ourselves. We can only be ourselves knowingly. So don't try to approach yourself or find yourself or know yourself. It's only possible to know objectively something other than ourself, or at least something that is not essential to ourself. It is when we relax the attempt to find or know anything that we come back, so to speak, to ourself. Of course, we never really come back to ourself because we never really left ourself. We left ourselves only with our attention. We lost ourselves in the content of experience and seem, as a result, to have to come back to ourselves. Don't expect this coming back to ourself to feel like anything. Ourself is not a feeling. It is, for this reason sometimes said to be transparent, empty, silent. All of these words are just used to indicate that it has no objective features. And just as everything that we know of ourselves as a person, that is our thoughts, images, feelings, sensations, perceptions, activities and relationships, is, so to speak, added to us, added to our essential, irreducible self or being. So consider the possibility that everything we know objectively of the world, that is, sights, sounds, tastes, textures and smells, are, as it were, added to its essential being, the essential reality of the world. All the names and forms that we know in the world are temporary appearances of a single, infinite and indivisible reality whose essence or nature is the same as the essence or nature of ourself. It is only appearances that account for our differences. It is only appearances that account for the apparent separation between us and other people and animals and things. Having understood this, as I know that most, if not all of you do, feel that this is so. Feel that the reality of the world, not just living beings, but the inanimate world, is the same being that you know and love in yourself. Each of us loves our own being, or rather our own being loves itself. Why would we not then love everyone and everything else whose nature is the same as our own being? If we only see the appearances, we will like some of the appearances and dislike others. But if we see through the appearance to its reality, which is our reality, then we love it all equally. So just let your imagination go anywhere it pleases in the realm of experience. And before you, and whatever you encounter, before you know anything about that thing or that event or that person, know that its nature is your nature, that its being is your being, that its reality is your reality. And then, having explored this in our imagination, that is just a dress rehearsal for implementing this understanding in the world. recognition of the nature of our being on the inside is experienced from a human perspective as peace and happiness. The recognition that we share our being with all others and objects on the outside is known as love and beauty. These are just different ways of expressing the same reality, one felt on the inside and one perceived on the outside. Peace and happiness on the inside, love and beauty on the outside. These are just two different ways of expressing the nature of the being that we essentially are and that we share with all objects and others.